purpose. No one can create your purpose for you. No one can tell you who to be. So in purpose, you have to create your own purpose. And in evolution, you have to evolve towards that purpose. It's easier to live when you have goals to meet. You understand? If you have goals to meet, then you don't feel so voided, and you understand why every day you're looking at this person in the mirror, because that is the cool part about the game. You get to be anybody you want to be.
All right, welcome. You guys are tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership Podcast. I'm Brandon B. Dixon, your host, and I got my co-host here, Anthony Gallup here, the mortgage prepper. And we just now noticed that we've been interviewing business owners, realtors, referral partners, family and friends, but we never interviewed each other. So this is I'm gonna interview my co-host here, and then later you'll see here interview the host. So I've never been in the hot seat. So I hope y'all enjoy this. So I'm gonna interview Anthony first here, and then we're gonna have one where I'm on the hot seat and you see what my whys of things. So let's get to the intros, then we'll go from there. Anthony, you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah. So thank you for taking the time with me, Brandon. Much appreciated. My name is Anthony, aka the Mortgage Prepper. Not like the survivalist, but more like a strategist, right? Someone that sees the playing field before they actually step onto it. And what I specialize in is I help people empower themselves to secure their own legacies through prepared home ownership. So yeah, you can reach me at themortgageprepper.com. That's my website. And it's also the Mortgage Prepper on all socials. And you can text me, call me, 919-336-0099. I'd be happy to talk real estate or just any business interest at all. So gotcha. Yeah, let's do it.
Gotcha, cool. I hope you're ready to be in the hot seat. Let's get my introduction out of the way, and then we're gonna get right down to it. All right, so my name is Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. It's at Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media, including the YouTube. Please like, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so let's break that barrier. Let's get over 1,000. Let's get to 2,500 before the end of the year at least. Let's get 2,500 to 3,000 core audience members. So go to www.applywithb.com if you want to book me for a consultation, or if you want to apply for a mortgage. You can call me 832-753-5541. You call me 24/7, or you can text me. And you could go to www.brandonbdixon.com if you want to lease, list, so on and so forth. So if this is your first time tuning into the Power of Ownership Podcast, we stream live every Monday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, you can catch us on all platforms: Kick, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, everything. So you can catch us on all platforms. We just started this a few weeks ago, the interview series where we're interviewing business owners one-on-one, realtor referral partners. So if you're interested in getting interviewed, get with myself. This is the QR code right here at the top, right there, or get with Anthony. If you're in his local market, Anthony, you're pretty much on the East Coast. Tell them all the states that you're licensed in.
Yeah, so I live in North Carolina. And I grew up in Pennsylvania, though, so I am licensed in Pennsylvania, my home state. Shout out to Rochester University Golden Rams and the Harrisburg High School Cougars. But so licensed in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, also licensed in Georgia, Florida, Maryland, Delaware, Michigan, and Nevada. But like we said, we have a national footprint. So if you're in a state I'm not licensed in, we still have options to help you.
Gotcha. So yeah, definitely reach out if you want to be featured or if you want to do an actual interview with us. This is the interview series. We normally talk on a panel on Monday nights, different clips and different things like that. But this is an interview. We're going to talk about business and we're going to ask some serious questions. I got 7 regular questions and 13 rapid fire. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Gotcha. All right. So let's get it started with the first one. So what does ownership mean to you?
Okay. So jumping into the hot seat. To me, ownership isn't just about owning something tangible, right? I think it's more of a mindset.
Mm.
Um, it's the ultimate self-reliance and emotional security. I'm a mortgage prepper, right? So I'm really kind of into the prepping and self-sustainability lifestyle within reason, right? But just to give me a little background, growing up, a lot of people know I was born in Liberia, West Africa, right?
Mm.
And happened to be born right around the time where Civil War had popped off. There was a lot of tension. And so we got lucky. My dad was an American citizen, so we were able to come here. And just getting onto our feet, we were in the homeless shelter for a little bit. So I still remember that moment where my mom and dad were able to buy our first house, and I still remember we were walking towards we were renting a place about 2 blocks away from the house, and it was the wintertime, and we barely had enough money to get over to the place and buy the place, but I still remember that feeling, that proudness that we had, just getting our stuff into our own house. So ownership for me means having that foundational anchor that allows you to build, generational legacy from then on.
Gotcha. So it's basically for you just that first step into self solventry, should I say?
Yeah. That being able to rely on yourself and not rely on anybody, that's the first foundational step for me.
Gotcha. All right. Let's go to the next one. What's the first thing you ever owned that changed your life? You kind of went into segue into that, but that was your dad. But let's talk about you.
So I would say probably my first passport.
Mm-hmm.
Right at 13, my dad had got me into martial arts, and in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I grew up, we had this school called Sulampai Chinese Boxing Academy, and our teacher, or Shifu, Kevin Preston. I mean, he was a very prominent member in our society, in our community,
Mm-hmm.
and just the discipline and the confidence we drew from that as a family. Right, my entire family, down to my mom, was a practitioner. So just going through that, I was lucky enough and proficient enough to earn a spot on a U.S. team traveling to Taiwan for an international martial arts tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So holding that passport and stepping onto a plane for the first time, that I could remember, made me realize the world was vastly bigger than my immediate neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And through hard work and discipline, you could find yourself on the other side of the world.
Right. Gotcha. All right. So travel is opening your eyes. I mean, yeah, this internationally, especially, like you get to see that the world is bigger than your particular thoughts. It's just some people never heard of the same thing, so their reality is totally different, right? So with that being said, what are you working to own next?
Oh, so this is my favorite part. This is kind of like my prepper side creeping out. On a practical level, I am looking to own or build a custom retrofitted ambulance turned into a tiny home mobile office, right? So follow me. It's going to be like my mortgage prepper mobile, where I can travel the country, host client workshops, build relationships nationwide. So that's like one of my biggest goals for a tangible thing to own. But on a legacy level, I do want to have a multi-acre, self-sustained family compound, with solar, water, all the gardens where my family can live off grid and build long-term security. That's been real important to me, is kind of making sure I bring my family along, because me being in this business gives me unique insight to, how to pay for property, right? So
Gotcha.
I think it's a great opportunity for me to kind of be the example and help, further our generation.
Gotcha. All right. What's one mistake you made in business that cost you money, and what did it teach you?
This is a good one. Let's see. So I'll go back. I chose what you would call short-term comfort over long-term leverage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So years ago, I got out of school, and I was going through that typical stage, don't know what to do. I got a degree. I was like, I got a biology degree, and I was like, I don't want to be a lab rat, but I also want to teach. And I looked at what they were making, and I was like, I got to do something, and I just couldn't find my footing. So I tried to join the military, and instead of going right now, as I'm a loan officer, I see what these military members are able to get when it comes to the VA benefit and how you can leverage that. So instead of going into the military, I got a job offer for a customer service company for $11.50 an hour, and I decided not to go into the enlistment bus, right? And as a broker today, I'm like, okay, I now realize that I walked away from potentially being able to leverage a VA loan, one of the single greatest wealth building vehicles in American real estate, if you're being honest.
Right.
And it taught me to never really trade long-term structural advantage for a quick, comfortable paycheck. The crazy part is that job was actually doing customer service for TRICARE, which is the military insurance. So I got to see firsthand, how good their insurance was, and it just never registered for me to go back. So that was one of the biggest mistakes, one of my biggest regrets.
Gotcha. That is one of mine as well. I had an opportunity because I was in Air Force ROTC, and I could have been if I would have went and graduated college, I would have been a lieutenant, coming straight out. So like, man, yeah. So that was one thing I did. So I chose to play ball instead. Like, all right, I played offensive line. Do I slim down and get in the military, or do I keep my size and play ball? I was like, nah, let me go get to play ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was after I even got done. I got done playing college ball. My body was already jacked, and I was in great shape.
Right.
So I was like, they're gonna put me on the front line. And I was like, nah.
I don't know what I was. I was that close. I was, going as the ace to ASVAB. I was that close. I just backed out the last minute. All right. So what's one thing people in your industry get wrong? And we share the same industry, so this is interested to hear your perspective on this.
Well, it's great because in this podcast we talk about this all the time, right? The few times I've been on, this is actually something we have discussed multiple times. So most people in the mortgage industry view a loan as a transaction, like a rate-driven event. They compete on decimal points instead of an actual strategy. What they miss out on is that the mortgage is usually a family's primary wealth building asset. It shouldn't just be about getting it clear to close. It should be part of a broader preparation strategy, setting up equity, tax advantages, and generational security so the family thrives throughout the economic downturns, right? Because there are going to be ups and downs, but if you're properly prepared, they don't hurt you. In fact, there are opportunities for you to thrive even more.
Right. Yeah, a lot of them are wham bam, one and done, right? Or they rely on the CRM to try to get them business or something. They don't actually create real relationships, right?
Right.
So, all right. So if someone had $1,000 and wanted to improve their financial future this month, what would you tell them to do?
So $1,000 doesn't go long nowadays. It doesn't go too far nowadays. But if you had $1,000 and that's all you had, I would say spend about $150 of that on foundational books like The Richest Man in Babylon, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or one that you put me on just recently, How to Pay Zero Taxes, right? And then put the remaining 900 straight into a high yield emergency reserve. Because if you don't have emergency funds, it doesn't matter what you're planning on doing. Life will kick you in your teeth at some point and you will not be able to recover, right? So wealth, I think, starts in the mind long before it hits someone's bank account. So if you don't build the mental discipline to manage the small amounts of money and audit your financial mindset, $10,000 or $100,000 won't stay in your hands anyway.
Right. I got you. Yeah, they need to educate themselves, right? Most people don't know how money works. All right. How can the community support you right now?
Oh, yeah. Connect me with real estate agents, home buyers. I love working with veterans in North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, all of my states across the country. Basically, it's more than a standard transactional lender. I'm looking to partner with people who value financial education, legacy planning, and disciplined home ownership.
Gotcha. All right. What's the ideal client for you, and what will make the perfect referral?
I would say the ideal client is someone who wants to empower themselves through real estate, whether that's a first-time buyer needing step-by-step guidance, or a veteran leveraging their benefits, or even an investor building a portfolio. A perfect referral is a family that says we want to buy a house, but more importantly, we want to make sure our kids inherit wealth, not debt.
Gotcha. All right, so that's the end of the first round right there. You know, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't, you know.
No, what's that?
Gotcha. So now we got 13 rapid fire questions. So, you know, those are quick answers. You know, I mean, you could elaborate a little bit, but you know, first thing that comes to mind, don't think about it too long. You know what I mean? So, I want to see your natural reaction to this. All right, so let's go to the rapid fire. All right, so favorite business book.
Just recently. So I used to have a previous favorite, The Richest Man in Babylon, because it broke down these timeless principles. But I like the pay zero taxes. Right, that's the new one you put me on a couple days ago, and I've been reading that. I love that one.
Right, yeah, definitely. It's probably people sleep on the tax element of business. You know, if you don't have a tax strategy, you're losing already. You know, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that you lose out on. All right, so best business purchase under $500.
Oh, that's easy. It's a Claude membership.
Right,
that is it. Claude AI has been the best thing that's happened to me. I've always been someone that had good ideas, but I was just never able to operationalize them a lot, and I needed what you would call someone to kind of sit me down and say, hey, this is what you want to do, step by step, do this, do that, do that. You know, because I had too much going on in my mind, so it was hard to kind of do that while I was still doing my daily activities. But Claude and AI it's become my executive assistant that stays on me, and I can always refer back to. So that's been a game changer for me.
Gotcha. So Claude costs that much?
It ain't that expensive. I mean, it's not. I pay triple times it because I rely on it a lot.
Right. I got you. All right. So are you a morning routine or night owl?
So I was 99% of my life, I was a night owl. Right. But after a little bit of discipline, some reading, I realized that, you know, it just works against you for the most part. So now I'm a morning person. My alarm goes off about 4:35. You know, I get up, do my walk, you know, do my meditation, you know, I do what else? Meditation, my affirmations, all that stuff. And I hit the computer by 7 a.m., you know, but it also means that by 8 o'clock, my eyes start getting heavy. Right. So you know, it means an early bedtime, but I like the morning routine now. I like how you feel when you get so much done before the sun even comes.
Yeah, if you're running behind, you feel like you can't. It's hard to catch up. Like even like today, I started late, and we caught up finally. I'm on time, but we still running a little bit later. After this, I'm hopping on TikTok for an hour, and then like you said, about 8 o'clock, it's your eyes are getting heavy. So you know, and I'm barely squeezing everything in. You know, so yeah, it's and I've been up since 5. So and I'm still running late. Yeah, you know, so it's only 24 hours in a day. All right, so what's the biggest opportunity in the next 12 months?
Again, something else we talk about on this podcast. If you're not watching this podcast, guys, you got to go in because we are talking about super relevant things that if you're not privy to, you're going to be left behind.
Right.
So I would say right now, authentic and non-traditional content creation.
Right.
So the market is tired of that sterile, polished, super corporate messaging. I think the biggest opportunity is providing raw lifestyle content, right? Talking mortgages while you're doing your everyday things. Like I like to cook, I like to garden, I do training, I work out. You know, using that platform to expand my broker and realtor networks in key markets like North Carolina, Pennsylvania. But yeah, I think that's where the biggest opportunity is just being real.
Right. And funny, I used to be Trek certified when I come from a corporate sales trainer background before I got into the real estate business. And my first year, I got Trek certified in marketing 101. So I would teach that was my strategy. That, hey, I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna train you realtors sales. Then if I got referral partners, you guys will be killer salespeople. So you're gonna bring all the business to me. That was my strategy. However, I didn't realize that most realtors just had like this glazed look when I was teaching my course. Like they were there just to get the hour. They were paying attention. But I used to say this all the time. It's like, hey, the more you talk about real estate, the less you're gonna sell. The more you talk about it and do everything else, the more you're gonna sell. And it went over people's head. Now, 10 years later, they're starting to realize what I was saying. So I rarely talk about mortgages, on what I'm doing. I rarely do. All right. So that's the next one. What's one of the biggest mistakes you'll never make again?
Oh man, that's a really good one. Well, I would say not following where these trends are going, right? So I was one of those guys, like I said, I came up through Wells Fargo as my first mortgage job about over 10 years ago. And I worked with along a lot of old heads in the game, right? People that just, did mortgages the old fashioned way of just pounding the street, pounding the phones, and didn't really embrace social media. And for a while, I was just like, I don't need it. These guys are thriving just by building their sphere of influence. And now I regret that. I wish I would have jumped into TikTok when it first started. I wish I would have jumped into Instagram and leaned into that because I'm building it out now. It would be nice if I'd have been 5-6 years deep into this, right? So I think that's my biggest mistake was waiting to hop and move when the market.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of starting to see the seeds, but even Kevin Samuels took like 5 years to get going. So I'm like, as far as YouTube, like 6 years, 7 years on YouTube and stuff like that, but not really taking it serious. I'm passively doing it, but it takes years sometimes for you to have that moment, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's go to the next one. What's one business trend owners should pay attention to right now?
I would say customers aren't really buying from faceless companies anymore, right? There's now these huge corporations that used to dominate advertising on commercial platforms, those traditional advertising platforms. Now they're competing with small content creators. Someone can outsell Walmart just because of a viral piece of content. So someone that has no followers can outsell Walmart because Walmart's still using, not particularly Walmart, so let's not stop talking about Walmart, but just these larger companies are using that old traditional way of advertising. So I'd say right now you have to pay attention to, being tied into a more authentic content delivery method where you're actually showing more authenticity. I almost hate that word. But yeah, that is gonna that's where you should be paying attention to right now, is creating that authentic content.
Right. Yeah, I definitely would agree on that. I think it used to be Coke, Pepsi, Budweiser. All of those used to dominate everything. When the last time you seen a Coke or Pepsi besides the ball game advertisement? It's everything else being advertised, right? So they split that space. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Ooh, man, I got so much I would tell myself. So I think when I was younger, I was relatively smart. So I had gifted classes and everything. And I got used to kind of skating by, maybe doing 75% just to, I'd take a B any day. I didn't need to get an A. Right. So I would say to my younger self, turn the switch all the way on now. Don't just coast, don't operate 7% just because you can get by. Stick with your discipline. Stay in the martial arts. That was one of the biggest regrets. I gave up martial arts to go play football, and all I have now is a broken down body. Right? I love football. I still love football, but I wish I'd have stuck with the martial arts. But yeah, that would be my number one piece of advice. Would just be dial it in, take it from 75% to 100%, and stick with the things that are working for you.
Right. I don't know if you originally seen that first with the basketball skit I used to play on the outro. That was what that is all about. Like nobody pushing us to be that, overachiever. Even though you're gifted, we still underachievers. We're over the average people, but we should be above average. We could have been elite with the right push, right?
It's funny you mentioned that because I remember when I came to Harrisburg, we were in that homeless shelter for I think maybe 6 months. And it was actually, it sounds terrible, but it was actually one of the best times of my life because I was young, but I went to third grade. I was in third grade. The school I was in literally had 2.5 hours of homework every single night. Every single night. And that right there set me up so that when I got to the public school, I didn't really have to struggle. Like school was easy for a while. That kind of hurt me because I got used to just skating by.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. What's one belief you hold that most people would disagree with?
I would say I think most people view struggle and failure as negative setbacks to avoid at all costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I believe struggle is a mandatory prerequisite for long-term success. Like if you give wealth or status to someone who hasn't built up the mental muscle memory or the capacity to handle it, or just being able to overcome embarrassment, overcome shame, lack, and hardship, they won't have the internal infrastructure to hold on to them when they get there, if they even get there. But I think that failure, getting out there, failing, trying again, failing again, trying again, fine tuning your process, that's where the real growth lies.
Gotcha. Yeah, and definitely adversity, shapes trial by fire, right?
Yeah.
So, what's the best investment you ever made in yourself?
I would say the martial arts. That was by far the most impactful thing for my entire family. And then going forward past that, it would be the physical conditioning, right? Training in the martial arts and training in football and even getting back into the gym this past year. I realized that when you build that habit of taking care of your body, number one, you get so much better mental clarity, right? Your brain starts operating at a much higher level, and then it's a roller coaster effect, right? You start caring about how what you put into your body, caring about how much sleep you're getting, and then all of a sudden now you look at yourself and you've been transformed in a couple months, and now you have a habit. And once I have that working out habit, now I feel I have that drive, that dopamine rush where I'm like, okay, now let's tackle this. I want to learn this. Now I want to fine tune my mental fitness, right? So it's I think that's been the number one investment is just taking care of your body because number one, everybody's in bad shape, right? People are putting terrible food into their bodies, and you're not going to live long or thrive in the years you have left if you don't take ownership in that. That's exactly what this podcast also talks about. Take ownership in your own things you can control.
Right. That's the underlying theme. All right. What's one thing you're saying no to this year?
I would say I don't want to do the surface level networking anymore, right? And the busy work that just doesn't really serve a core mission. If an opportunity doesn't align with building generational security for my clients, expanding my business or supporting my family goals, it's an automatic no, right? I'm laser focused on the main goal right now.
Right. I mean, being locked in is what it is. That's part of my last book, Shameless Plug, Metal Draw. That's what it was about, locking in. So, what habit has made you the most money?
I'll be honest with you. I've gone through stages of becoming a morning person. I used to love. I mean, I'm naturally a night person. I could still go back to being a night person in a heartbeat. But being a morning person, once you get up early and you're productive, because there's nothing to do but be productive in the morning that early. Right? There's no TV to watch. There's no people to talk to. You got to do work. So once you start getting up early and you get all this done by 7 a.m., you looking around like, oh man, I'm on a roll. Right. And then having that mindset that once you're on a roll, like now you have that dopamine, like I want to keep adding things, keep knocking things off. So I think getting up early is the biggest habit I've had to generate the most capital for me.
Gotcha. All right. Who has influenced your business journey the most?
That's easy. That's it's a combination. Ultimately, my parents, they did an amazing job, man. This is one thing I tell people growing up. People are very hard on their parents. If you go back 20, 30 years, there weren't no manuals on how to be a perfect parent, right? There were no manuals on how to improve your wealth, right? If you didn't know someone that had the details on how to build wealth, you didn't learn it. There was nothing being taught in school. It wasn't on television. So remember, our parents grew up in a generation where if you didn't know it, you figured it out on the run. And my mom and dad raised 5 kids, and all of us, no one spent the night in the hospital. None of us were in prison. All of us are alive and we all got all our hands and toes, right? So, I think they did just getting us there and making sure that we're in the mindset that we can still learn, right? Because nowadays, there is no excuse. Everything you know to learn, everything you need to know is out there at your fingertips, right? So, my parents, number one, and then also I got to shout out my Shifu, Kevin Preston, Sulam Pai Chinese Boxing Academy. I think they're in Carlisle, Pennsylvania now. But that when I tell you that place, it helped build confidence, helped make sure that we were physically fit kids going in, so we had a good foundation. It taught us hard work. I mean, discipline and hard work on a level you wouldn't even imagine. That right there, those two things, those two people are my biggest influences in my entire life, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. All right. Last question. One word that describes your success.
Resilience. Things aren't always easy. No matter how many times the doors closed, the market shifted, or life threw a curveball or outright kicked you right in your face, right? I've always found a way to dust myself off and learn a lesson and, keep moving forward. So I would say resilience. Gotcha.
Awesome. All right. So Anthony, tell them one more time where they can find you, and tell them all your information.
Yeah. So again, the Mortgage Prepper, I focus on creating strategy, and I help people empower themselves to build and verify their legacy through prepared home ownership. You can find me at themortgageprepper.com. You can find me at the Mortgage Prepper all socials. If you want to call and text me directly, the number is 919-336-0099. I'm super happy you had me on here for this interview, man. I'm looking forward to being a part of the podcast, and you're doing great things, man.
Well, you could catch Anthony on the panel on Mondays as the co-host. Also, if you want to interview with Anthony, you want to partner, be a referral partner. I hope he's like me. I'm not doing any more referral partners. We don't do an interview first. So if you want to get at Anthony, like I said, hit him up on the channel and let's get you on the podcast for an interview. So let's hear your take on some of these questions, and let's hear your insights on your business career and your business foundation or enterprise, whatever you want to say it. So. With that being said, we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
Peace.
Take ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Take ownership of your mistakes. Take ownership of your shortfalls, take ownership of your problems, and then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved. And when a team takes ownership of its problems, the problems get solved. And that is true on the battlefield, it is true in business, and it is true in life.